What is up, everyone? In today's video, I'm going to be sharing the 12 most important settings that you want to be using in League of Legends, and in particular as a jungle main. If you aren't sure who I am, my name is Coach Leo. I'm a challenger jungler and former pro player who has now turned full-time coach. So if working with me is something that you're interested in, you can check the links in the description below. Currently, you can use code LEO10 for $10 off the Jungle Academy. Now, without further ado, let's begin. So to start things off, as a PSA, settings in-game are more or less preference. If you check between pro players, you will find many differences, but also many similarities. Now, those similarities are exactly what we're going to be covering in this video, as well as where preferences can be discussed. Alrighty guys, jumping into the very first setting that I would highly suggest you have. It is an obvious one, but it is, of course, using quick cast. Now, just a lot of players that I coach, this can feel quite, kind of uncomfortable, but it is really important because you will cap yourself as a player if you do not use quick cast. Some people will ask me, what about quick cast with indicators? I would also suggest against that because it is just slower than when you press your ability and your ability go off. Something that I can also suggest is that, and by the way, how you do this is you go into settings here, and having these off like this obviously means that you're using normal cast, is when you press the ability, then you have to press the ability. Yeah, you just want to have these all on. Some things for my own personal preference is like I have 3 as my trinket. Whenever I buy like my pink wood, I have it on slot 3, and I want to be able to place this one just so I can, know exactly where I'm placing it. So something else that I personally do on top of using quick cast is also just, if you want to have that circle, right? If you want to be able to see your ability range, I actually just use Shift Q, Shift W, Shift. So I use Shift for my all my normal abilities right here. This is just obviously a thing that you can think about doing. And the second setting that goes along with this also that a lot of players have been asking me about, which is enable line missile display, and you want to turn it off. So I believe it is somewhere around the interface here. Here it is, enable line missile display. So a lot of people have been asking me about this one. How do I get this circle for my spear or whatever ability it is? This is obviously completely personal preference. I just want to show you guys the difference. This one has a line. It shows you the thickness. I just personally prefer to have the circle, and a lot of pro players that I also have seen, a lot of junglers prefer to have this. So this is obviously just completely preference. So moving on to the third setting that we want to be abusing. This one is very important. This is one of those non-negotiable ones, okay? And this is everything to do with your mouse click. So the ultimate goal is to optimize for click accuracy and to reduce misclick. So what you will see right now is the ability to be able to press a key and click somewhere and your character attack what you want to attack. And if there was obviously another target here and I wanted to attack this guy, not this guy, it would be the one that's closest to my attack cursor. So even if I misclick, I'm going to be able to attack my right opponent. So if you're someone who uses clicks like this, there is the chance, right? You can kind of get away with it, but having this setting is a non-negotiable. You will see basically 90% of challenger and pro players using this key. So it is a 3-part thing. It is player attack move, bind, it is show attack move range, and it is attack move on cursor. So the first part of that setting is found right here in the hotkeys. You want to scroll down to player movement, and you want to bind player attack move. I have mine to A. This is preference. Whatever you want to do, you bind it. Okay, whatever makes, whatever feels the best for you, bind it to whatever you want. It could be a mouse button, it could be a keyboard, whatever. Okay, and the second part of this is in your interface, and you want to be doing show attack move range. This is going to make it so you have the circle around your cursor. I mean, this one's a little bit preference as well. You can choose to have this off, but it is nice to know your auto attack range. So you can space correctly. And then the very third thing, which is the attack move on cursor, is in your game, and it is right here, attack move on cursor. So what this last one does, it allows you to attack the closest target, right? If I have this off and I press attack move, it's just going to attack whatever's closest to me, as you can see, which is kind of annoying, right? This one's pretty important to have on. These 3 combination settings is going to really allow you to never misclick. Continuing on now with optimizing our mouse clicks, the 4th setting that you will want to have is a combination of target champions only bind plus treat target champs only as a toggle. So to put target champs only on as a bind, you'll want to come into the hotkeys. You'll want to go abilities and summoner spells. You want to scroll down here, and around about this section, you will see target champions only. Bind that to whatever you want. Again, completely preference. I have mine on my mouse button. Easy to press, and then what you want to combine that with is the other portion of that, which is treat target champions only as a toggle, so you can just click it and click it off. And see, as you can see here, what this will do is this will give you the ability to target champions only. So, you will not be able to target this board, for example. And what this is especially important for, if you're someone who misclicks on minions as you go for a gank, if you're someone who accidentally like auto queues, you know, the minions as they come in when you needed to auto queue the champion and you miss the kill because of it, and it's really, really frustrating, or especially for when you do tower dives, this is a setting that is really, really OP that you should be abusing because it allows you to do tower dives easier. So for example, you know, these guys are here. I have target champions only on. I press the button, you know, I go for the dive here and I'm unable to click the tower. I can only click the enemy champions here. As you can see, I literally cannot click the tower. Now, one thing you have to realize is that if you actually use a click here, it will actually cancel the target champions only, which will make you be able to hit the tower. So obviously when you do this bind, yeah, you will have to go back to just clicking, right? But at least then you will not be able to kind of, you know, target the tower here and, you know, misclick on the tower. So just remember that when you choose target champs only, if you a click, this is something I actually just realized just now making the video, you will attack the tower with it on. So that's just something to think about. Moving on now to the fifth, this is going to be talking about camera control. So again, for any laners, but especially if you are a jungler, camera control is a very important thing. And what we're trying to optimize here in the camera control is we're trying to optimize our gameplay for awareness and information gathering. And the very first is going to be F keys, and more in particular, rebinding your F keys to whatever you feel like is good for you, right? Like a lot of people I coach, they say, oh, coach, these F keys are too far. It doesn't feel right? It's like impossible to use them because they're, you know, they're all the way up here. And I just tell them, you know, this is something I got taught a very long time ago. Just rebind them, okay? Rebind them to whatever you feel is good. And I don't even have 4 binds here. I just have top, mid, and bot. Z for top, X for mid, and C for bot lane for my support or my AD carry. And so where you can rebind them is right here in the hotkeys. Camera control, rebind them right here. As you can see, ally 3 doesn't get a bind, and myself, ally 1, does not get a bind, right? So Z, X, and C for me, bind them to whatever you want. This can be mouse keys, and of course, I can't show you here in this practice tool currently, but you know, as you're clearing, like, it is very, very nice to just quickly press C and your camera goes here. Press X and my camera goes here. Press Z and my camera goes here. Press C and my camera goes here. And it makes it very, very easy as a jungler, but this is obviously as a mid laner too, right? You're playing mid, you just quickly C to your jungler. It's very, very helpful to information gather, so this is something I would highly recommend. It does take some practice to get used to. With my own personal preference, I kind of just use both. Sometimes I click on the map, and sometimes I press an F key. So this is personal preference. And then kind of combined with that is free camera. So let's talk about unlock versus lock camera, guys. So this is just something that, you know, this is going to be the sixth setting that you need to kind of have. You need to have a free looking camera. So you can play lock screen, right? But you just need to be good at unlocking and relocking. So for my own personal thing, right? For myself to be able to snap back to lock screen, I don't actually play lock screen, right? But I have just a bind. My spacebar brings me back to my character. And so what I will say about this, you can play lock screen. There are pro players that play predominantly lock screen. However, it doesn't hinder their awareness because they're able to just go back to their character, right? Like they're able to just quickly look, take some information, and then continue playing lock camera. Alrighty, moving on to setting number 7. This is going to be to do with your communication and to optimize for maximizing relevant information. Okay, so I'm a big avid party chat only enjoyer, and I would highly suggest this. I know it is a little bit isolated to play without your chat on, but if you are someone who gets involved in chat and, you know, kind of interacting with your team, and it's kind of just like not really a great way to communicate. Okay, so I would highly suggest party chat only. A little side note to that is also show timestamps, which we're going to be talking about in a second. But party chat only, which is the setting right here in interface, it's in chat, it's right here, party chat only. Make it that. This is what it is on default, which is everyone. Party chat only. Also a chat history bind with show timestamps is setting number 8. So what you want to do as well, so you can press a key binding and look at the timestamps, right? If someone is pinging flash in the chat, this is a very, very important timestamp to have right here. And this, you know, chat for me is a means of seeing pings. Okay, pings and chat, they kind of go hand in hand. It is the way you want to communicate. So when you see that, right, if I'm like a jungler here, right, and I'm like down here and the chat is like this, right, and sometimes the chat is, you know, moving. Let me just make some more pings here, right? If I want to figure out like what's happened up here, I can just have a keybind for that, right? And I can just show, oh, what's up here. Instead of like opening chat and like kind of scrolling, you just have that quick keybind. And so what that is it's in hotkeys. It is in communication right down here. Chat history bind. I might just bound to V. So this is something I would highly suggest as well. Chat history bind, timestamps, a bit of a double. Up next in the video and interface category, we are trying to maximize visibility plus ease of information gathering. The 9th setting we're going to be looking at is our map champ icons and chat in the same area ideally. Now, usually, obviously I'm in a practice tool right now, but you'll have your champ icons somewhere around this area above your map. As a default, I'm not sure if it is like that or not, but you do want to have it there. Okay, and also my chat, actually I have it up here, which is, I would honestly like to have it here and get used to it, having it kind of near everything else. You basically want all your information to be honestly on one side of your screen, so you can just see, okay, this guy has no flash, this guy's low, and something's happening on the minimap, right? You want everything to be in that one area so you can quickly just glance over. Again, jungle especially is a lot about information gathering, so having that easier to do is very important. So just make sure you do not have team frames on left on. You want team frames on the right. You want, I mean, if you play with Minimap on left, right, you want everything to the left, obviously. So you want it all, you want to just have it all in one place. Now, the 10th setting that we want to be thinking about is just our HUD and our map. Okay, so our minimap and our HUD. This is obviously as well largely to do with your personal preference, okay? But if your minimap is too small, that's going to be problematic, right? Because you're going to miss information. If your minimap is maybe too big, then maybe that's going to be problematic because, you know, you might not see something literally on your screen happening. So find out what works for you. If I would honestly say minimap bigger is always the priority because information is king. But yeah, just have it big enough to where you don't need to like squint or it's not hindering your gameplay too much, okay? Yeah, and also the HUD. The HUD is obviously another personal thing. I would obviously say have it as small as possible unless you are struggling to see what cooldowns you have. So then make it to your desired preference where it is not hindering you, but it is also not, you know, too small to where you don't glance at your abilities and you don't know what abilities you have up. For our 11th setting, continuing on with the HUD and interface kind of portion, the video, we want to have a specific setting, which recently I've found out a lot of people do not have on as a jungler, which you definitely need to have on. If we scroll down here to enable all minimap timers, okay, this is so important to do, but you want minimap timers to always be on. You always want them to be showing on your screen. Okay, here we go. So right now I'm not pressing tab, right? And as you can see, I have 2 minutes here on the minimap. If I turn this off, you will not have that timer. You will obviously have the white and the green and the yellow kind of indicators that's spawning. But this one's very, very important for jungle because, you know, you want to know and to plan ahead of time. You don't want to have to, I mean, obviously this is personal preference as well. If you find that it's adequate pressing tab, but this is just something I would highly suggest. Have your minimap timers always on. It is in the game, so we must abuse it. Yeah, that's the ending off things in the video interface portion. Now, heading on to the 12th setting, guys. This one's a little bit of a bonus. I'm just going to be talking a little bit about, you know, you can obviously spectate a lot of different pro players and you know, different settings, but this is just my personal preference. I am someone who very much so believes in, you know, decluttering as much as you can. So for video, okay, again, very, very personal preference. But these are just my settings in particular. You know, I've just been asked this a few times while streaming and stuff like this and playing, people are asking me. And also just a bonus in particular, guys, like if you're playing, I know this sounds silly, but if you're playing on like a 60 Hertz monitor in 2026, consider at least upgrading to 144 Hertz. Like ideally for your mechanics, I will say that this is going to make a big difference. I will say that playing on 144 Hertz or even 240 Hertz if you can, will make a very, very significant difference in your mechanics and in how you know, take in information and take in combat, because League is a 50% of a combat game. I would even say maybe even higher than 50%. You know, a challenger player playing on 240 FPS on a 240 Hertz monitor and a challenger player on 60 FPS, the 240 FPS player, Hertz monitor player would win out. Okay, so is it relative to you and your silver, gold, platinum, whatever rank you are? Yes, it is relevant. Okay, it is relevant. So that's just the last consideration in terms of your setting, a little bit of a hardware consideration. Make sure, you know, you have like your Google Chrome close in the background, you know, make sure your game isn't, you know, going to 30 FPS in a team fight. That's something I would just highly suggest. And remember, yeah, League is a CPU based game. So the better your CPU, the better your game will run. You know, you could have an insane graphics card, but League is a CPU-based game, so a better CPU, better FPS. And so that'll wrap things up. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment down below. Consider dropping a sub, consider dropping a like. And yeah, if you're interested in working with me again, links will be in the description below. And I will see you guys all in future vids. Peace.